Greetings, brothers and sisters Creed. I'm Mr. Assassin. Today I'm bringing you my Banjo-Tooie review, and I am so glad that I'm playing this game because there's so many memories from my childhood that I enjoyed a lot. So Banjo-Tooie takes place 2 years after Banjo-Kazooie. Matilda's beaten, she's dead, but then this giant drill comes falling through the canyon wall to Spiral Mountain. And then, lo and behold, it's actually Gruntilda's two ugly sisters, who are also witches, who save her. So that's, just for reference, that's 3 sisters, okay? The good one and 2 bad ones, alright? Yeah, I just had to put that in there. So you go through this entire intro, because that's what Nintendo's famous for, is these long intros that you can't skip. And basically Gruntilda goes and blows up Banjo's house. Blows it up, but the hero's still alive, Mumbo's still alive, Bottles is dead. Like, burnt to a crisp, dead. And all that's left is his ghost that's floating over his body. So now you're tasked with revenge. Like, that's the key. You want revenge because what happened to Bottles. So you're going through and you find out that you're on a giant island. That Spiral Mountain was like not even 1/10 of the world that you actually live in. Like, Spiral Mountain was basically like the blood gulch of Isle o' Hags, the island that you live in, and the fact that you are completely closed off from the rest of the world, and the only reason you're there is because there's a witch there to stop her. Like, that's the reason that you're there. There's no other reason entirely. So you go through, you're finding all these worlds, it's basically Banjo-Kazooie's setup, like 10 worlds, 10 Jiggies, find all the Jiggies, go beat the witch, come home a hero. However, there's differences that made this a better game in my mind than Banjo-Kazooie. One of the reasons is that it added a mission-based style to collecting these Jiggies. Like, there wasn't just like, oh, it's a random Jiggy. Sweet. Don't get me wrong, there are random Jiggies in this place. But in this game, like what I'm playing right now, you had to go find these totems and shoot these cats. Then you got to fight a boss, and then you got the Jiggy if you beat the boss. And that's the other thing that's cool, is that, you know, you had to fight the boss. You got to fight bosses. There were 10 bosses in each level, with the 11th boss being Gruntilda. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's so awesome. I wish they had that in Banjo-Kazooie instead of that stupid giant box on Rusty Bucket Bay that just broke up every time you shot 3 eggs at it, and then it broke up into smaller boxes and did the slime effect. That was stupid. It was annoying as all get out. And then you had Gruntilda, which was the hardest boss of all time, like when I was 6 years old when I played the game. So you go through, you're doing this stuff, you're beating people down with new moves that you really don't ever use the new move or the old moves that you learned way back when. Like, you actually use the new moves. Like the old moves are like no longer relevant. Like, there's only one, and that's kind of, well, I shouldn't say one. There's a few, and that's like the pads, the shoes, and the flying, and the Kazooie walk. Like, other than that, like, you really don't use any of the moves at all. Like, it's mostly just, you know, it's just the new moves, which I kind of like that. You know, what they did was they made it so that this is its own separate game. Like, you can rely on the old ways, but embrace the new ways. This is what we're using. Embrace it. We're like, okay, we'll do that. So, there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of things they added and they changed that kind of for the best and kind of for the worst. One of the good things, no longer do you have these rows of items and resources you have to collect, like feathers and eggs, and like there's only 2 golden feathers every other world. Like, there's actually these nests that have eggs in it, have feathers, and have gold feathers in it. Now, granted, in the gold feathers you actually only get like 4 at a time instead of the 2 like you used to. Eggs, you get 20, depending on which egg you get. That's right, there's actually more eggs this time around. Some are good, like the grenade egg, which is badass. And then there's some that are bad, like the fire egg, which I only used like 3 times in the game and thought it was pointless unless I just really wanted to be funny and, you know, burn my enemies, which was always fun. And you would get, you know, like 10, 20, 30, however many you wanted, or the game gave you. The feathers, like they were in nest 2, and you got 50 red feathers. 50 red feathers from one nest. That's amazing, because you use so many when you're flying. And then you got your 4 gold feathers, which no one ever really uses, because it makes you invincible, and it's not even a good invincibility, like you're just running around. It's not really God mode like in other games where you're just like hacking, slashing. Of course, it doesn't need to be any other game because it's Banjo-Tooie. It's its own game. That's right. So, I'm gonna give this game... You know what? Actually, there's more. Now that I think about it, there's more I can talk about. What? Like, what, Mr. Assassin? Well, I'll tell you. Like, what? The multiplayer! That's right. There's an actual multiplayer to this game, and it's freaking awesome. What you've been seeing, this first-person shooter, it's a move you can learn in the game, and you've actually, there's like 4, I think there's 4 of these settings where you have to go, and you can't just use it everywhere. It's just this place. And basically, the multiplayer is set in the same 4 worlds. You choose your character, or well, you really don't. It all depends on if you're first, second, third, or fourth person. And then you go around shooting your buddies with eggs, and it was so awesome because when you got the grenade egg, can't even talk because it's so awesome. The grenade egg power up. That's right. It's not power ups or no perks, just power ups. You would get the grenade egg, and it would be so awesome because you would just go around blowing up your friends, like, and they're dead. Like, it was an instant kill. Sure, you only got like 10 grenade eggs, but that's all you needed to win, really. And then if you lost health, you went and found this giant honey jar, you got your health back. And then you would find like yellow feathers, they would give you invincibility. You just go around raping. You would find the auto fire eggs, which would you just go around raping again. There's just a lot of good things about the multiplayer that they should incorporate. No, actually they shouldn't incorporate it because everyone would get mad because everyone's dying because they don't have that OP scorpion submachine gun bullshit. That's right, I'm talking to you noobs out there who use fucking submachine guns. It's stupid. Sorry, I had to let that out. Okay, what you're seeing now is one of the bosses. There's 10 bosses plus Gruntilda at the end, but she doesn't count because she's a dick. She's the biggest dick in the world. Like the cheapest moves ever. Bosses are based on a system of health points. They start out at a health system and then they go down to 0 and they're dead. It's very, very simple. However, you have to figure out which ways they die. Certain bosses die certain ways. 9 times out of 10, it's you just hit the weak spot and they're dead. Other times, you actually just shoot the body and they're dead. It's just a different thing. And each world is different to the specifics of the boss. Like, each boss is specific to the world they're in. You won't find, like, this guy in, like, the Hellspire's Peak or anything like that. So, this is basically Banjo-Tooie. And it's awesome! And I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 rating because I have so few complaints. Like, I don't even think about the complaints when I think about the game. Like, I think of how awesome it is. Now, this is what I'm going to start doing now, guys. I'm actually going to be asking you guys just a question and post in the comments your answers. Why? Because you guys don't post in the comments even though I ask you to. And this video's question is, which is your favorite world in the Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie? And I'm not going to ask you which is your favorite Banjo-Kazooie game because there's only 2 of them. There's only 2 of them, okay? None of that Xbox crap or the Game Boy Advance crap, okay? So post in the comments what your favorite what your favorite world was, and I will see you next time. So as always, brothers and sisters of the Creed, I'm Mr. Assassin. Until our paths meet again, safety and peace.